Hey everyone, it's Alora, and today I'm here to do a massive summer book haul. I have bought way too many books, so let's just hop right into it. First one I'd like to talk about is Spinning Silver by Naomi Novik. This is the companion novel to Uprooted, which came out a few years ago. And this one is based in Russia. Her books are, they're just enchanting. It's really hard to describe her writing style, but it's very luscious and tactile. It feels like it has this cadence. It feels a lot like The Name of the Wind and Patrick Rothfuss's style of writing, but I would highly recommend Naomi Novik. I've just barely started this one, so I can't really say anything specifically about it, but I know that it's based upon Rumpelstiltskin, and it's a retelling that takes 3 different female perspectives. The next book that I bought is A Conjuring of Light, which is the 3rd book in Victoria Schwab's Darker Shades of Magic series, or I guess she goes by V.E. Schwab for her adult novels. She's just the coolest lady. If you watch her Instagram stories like I do, you would see that. This is, like I said, the 3rd book, and I feel really proud of myself. Sorry about the honking. I feel really proud of myself for just plugging away with this series, because normally I'm really bad about follow through with book series. I'll read the first one and then buy the 2nd and 3rd and just let them sit on my shelf forever. But with this one, I'm actually finishing it. So I've just started yesterday, 2 days ago. So I've barely begun, but I'm really looking forward to finishing up this series. I would imagine you probably do know the basic premise of the Darker Shades of Magic, but if you don't, there are multiple versions of London that are kind of stacked atop one another or beside each other, and there's this one powerful magician who can go between worlds. I'm really not describing this book series very well, but it's steeped in magic. There are multiple perspectives, and her writing style is amazing, so I would highly recommend this series. The next book that I have here is the Book of Tarot, it's kind of shiny, by Danielle Noel. Now, I know this is kind of a controversial topic. I like to use tarot decks or oracle decks as tools for self-reflection. I just like to find pretty decks with gorgeous cards and then, pull one a day and kind of think about the meaning and how it might apply to my life, not using it as a tool for seeing into the future or anything like that, but just using it as a tool for internal self-reflection. Anyway, Danielle Noel's art style is really gorgeous. Very pastel, which is definitely up my alley. The next book that I have here is The Curious Charms of Arthur Pepper by Phaedra Patrick. I have already read this, really didn't like it. It felt a lot like the storied life of A.J. Fikry, but not as good. My opinion on it was that you could tell that it was a story about a man that was written by a woman, if that makes sense. But anyway, I think it's supposed to be kind of charming and cute, about this man who is a widower, and he's kind of reclaiming his own life and getting back to a place where he goes on adventures and does his own thing. So I had that one for book club. It wasn't necessarily my pick, but I also have The Signature of All Things by Elizabeth Gilbert. If you know me, you know that I love Elizabeth Gilbert. If I couldn't be me and had to be someone else, I would be Elizabeth Gilbert. And this is one of her books that I haven't actually read yet. I own the audiobook and tried listening to it a few years back and never got into it. I don't know if it was the narrator or the time in my life, but I figured I would pick up the physical copy and give that a go. This book seems to be a family saga about this family who studies plants. What else do we have? Next I have Love and Gelato by Jenna Evans Welch. This is just a cutesy, contemporary, fluffy read about this girl who spends a summer in Italy. And I was really looking forward to it. I personally didn't actually like it, which is unfortunate because before I read it, I bought the companion novel Love and Luck, which is about a different girl who goes on vacation to Ireland. I actually really, really want to go to Ireland, so I'm kind of looking forward to reading that book. But I also really want to go to Italy, so I wanted to read the other book and it kind of was disappointing. So we'll see. I'll let you know how it goes. I also bought Can't even talk. I also bought Hardboiled Wonderland and the End of the World by Haruki Murakami. I am almost finished listening on audiobook to 1Q84, which is a 46-hour-long audiobook. It's arguably his most famous work, so I wanted to pick up another one, and these editions are shiny and gorgeous, and they all match. I have another one over there. The Wind-Up Bird Chronicle is the other one that I have in that edition. I'm living in Portland these days, which means Powell's, which is the largest bookstore I believe in North America, is literally a 10-minute walk from my apartment, which is dangerous. So I definitely took a trip there. A lot of these next books are from a Powell's excursion. I think on this day I walked away with 10 books. The first one being Still Life with Tornado by A.S. King. I've never read any A.S. King, but I've heard fantastic things about her writing. She seems to be a young adult surrealist author, and I'm really looking forward to reading this one. I'm going to read it probably next week, so I'll let you know. I'll update you on that. I also bought Grasshopper Jungle, green, Grasshopper Jungle by Andrew Smith. I've also never read any Andrew Smith, and he also has, I don't know if his work is surrealism. I think it is. I think his work is surrealism, and so, at least in this one, this edition has yellow pages, which is kind of offensive to my eyes, but also kind of cool. I can't decide how I feel about it. I finally decided to pick up Love and Other Carnivorous Plants by Florence Gonçalves. I'm probably mispronouncing her name. This book is a young adult contemporary about eating disorders, which is a topic that really interests me, and well, for several reasons, one of which was that I studied eating disorders in college, especially eating disorders as they affect young people, and so I'm really looking forward to reading this book. My camera's about to die. Hold on. There, I plugged it in. This is the struggle with never filming. By the time you get back around to it, your camera battery is out of juice, even though you've never used it. Okay, back to the Powell's books. So I'm really excited about this next one. My favorite book of 2016, I believe, was A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihira, and I bought her other book. It's called The People in the Trees, and the premise doesn't actually interest me, but I loved her other work so much that I'm hopeful. Got my fingers crossed that this is going to be another favorite. That's kind of an interesting topic to me, whether you like an author for the way they write or whether you like an author for a particular topic that they delved into or a particular work that they did. The City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty. Sorry about that. I believe that this is Egyptian. Yep, Cairo. Oh, I'm so excited. I love Egyptian mythology, and I really enjoy learning about Egypt. I want to start learning more about Egypt. I would love to be one of those people that just has a really deep knowledge of a very random topic, and for me that would be Egypt and Egyptian mythology. But this is a fantasy book that was blurbed by Laini Taylor and looks just fantastic. Reagan at Peruse Project recommended it, and I always take her recommendations with 0 grains of salt. I just take them and run with them because I think she has wonderful taste in novels. What else do we have? Ooh, so there's this Portland literary journal / publishing house called Tin House, and I think they would be really cool to work for, honestly. So I've started to collect some of their issues, and right here I have the 50th issue entitled Beauty. Okay, so this is volume 13, number 2. It's their 50th issue, and I'm really looking forward to reading it. They just have a mix of essays, short fiction stories, poetry, you name it. And while we're on this topic, I picked up their 75th issue, which is called Candy, and I just started reading this today. It's actually really well done, and again, the color scheme matches my life aesthetic perfectly, so that's great. Maybe I'll put that one on display when I'm done reading it. Also, I completely forgot to mention this lovely book, The Princess Saves Herself in this one. It's a poetry collection by Amanda Lovelace, and I really found myself enjoying it. Next up, I have a nonfiction work titled Like a Mother, A Feminist Journey Through the Science and Culture of Pregnancy. Oops, sorry, I was kind of out of frame. This looks really interesting to me, not because I am a mother or plan to be one soon, but just because I find this topic fascinating. I think that the way we handle motherhood in our culture it almost treats it like a taboo subject, and so I'm really interested to read that. That book was recommended by Ingrid Nilsson over on her channel. She read it and said that it's a perfect summer read and that she thinks that it's very important for people in our culture to read about. Alright, we're down to the last 4 books. I bought this stack of books when I took a coast trip with my mom last month. It was a lovely trip, and these next 3 books were bought at a really adorable used bookshop that was part of this woman's house. So she had her downstairs cute little coastal house filled to the brim with books, and I found 3 good ones. So the first of those is The Weird Sisters. my stack of books was too big and just fell over, but it's okay because everything's fine. There are no rips or anything. I was a little worried. Okay, so the first of which is The Weird Sisters, which is a novel by Eleanor Brown, and I think it's just a family saga, family drama about these sisters coming back to their childhood home and reconnecting, or maybe having conflicts, I'm not sure. I also picked up Not That Kind of Girl by Lena Dunham. A young woman tells you what she's learned. Now, I haven't entirely decided if I am or am not a Lena Dunham fan. I watched probably the majority of the first season of Girls and was kind of fascinated, but kind of in a morbid fascination way, because it was so raw and real and almost uncomfortable at times, and so I'm not quite sure how I feel about her, but I do want to read her book. It's supposed to be pretty funny. Second to last, I have The Shadow of the Wind by Carl Ruiz Zafón. This book has been lauded to no end. This is about a boy who finds a special book when he's in Barcelona called The Shadow of the Wind, and then he finds out that all of the copies of this book are being systematically destroyed, and somehow the book starts to mirror his life or some such, but I've heard nothing but praises about this book, so I'm really looking forward to reading it. I'm starting to sound like a broken record. I say I'm looking forward to reading all of these books. It's because I am. I am genuinely excited about every book that I buy, even if I don't end up getting to it right away. Last but not least is the longest book. How long is it? Over 1,000 pages. This book is over 1,000 pages long. It is Infinite Jest by David Foster Wallace, and in the introduction or the preface or something it says, books shouldn't be easy to read, and I'm like, oh, uh-oh, what did I get myself into here? So this is a massive book with very large pages with a very small font, and I'm not actually entirely sure what it's about, but Hannah over on, gosh, what's her channel? It might just be her name. I'll pop it up on the screen right here. She said that this is her favorite book, or one of her very favorite books, and so I think she seems like a really cool person, so I decided to pick up one of her favorite books, and she's also an English professor, so I don't know if that is a good thing or a bad thing, because oftentimes English professors like dense books, so it might be a little bit dense, but we'll see. Alright, that is all I have for you today. I have way too many books that I've purchased. I am reading them, if it makes you feel any better, but I just love collecting books. They make me so happy to own, and I also just really want to support the publishing industry, which is an industry that I myself would like to get into, so I don't mind spending my money on books, supporting authors, supporting the publishing industry and such. And I recognize that I am incredibly fortunate to be able to have the means to purchase all of these books. Okay, I'm gonna go now. I love you very, very much, and I will see you later. Bye.